Hello my hi-fi brethren, my name is Dave and welcome you to my channel. If you're here for the first time, welcome. And if you're my subscriber, I think that you guys are a very special breed of people. If you see my previous video, you will see that I told you not to worry about subscribing, so you don't have to subscribe. But in spite of that, you went ahead to subscribe. And from what I gather from other YouTuber, that is, if I have more subscriber, I think they'll push my video, right, to more people. So in subscribing to my channel, I think you have also done a big public service to the rest of our hi-fi enthusiasts in this hi-fi community, right? So thank you. But let's say you're new, really don't have to worry about subscribing. Okay, if you want to see more of my video, you can check back in the future. I just want to let you know why I started this YouTube channel. All right, I'll talk about this figure in a while, right? Actually, I started this channel not because of hi-fi. Okay, I want to have a platform for me to promote, to do marketing for my real estate, because I'm a real estate agent here in Singapore. And the other thing is so that I can have a record of all my videos, right? And the first video that actually get my hi-fi video going was the video on the Yamaha Advantage A2A. In that video, actually I explained to you guys why I choose that AV receiver, right? So and I don't see myself as a professional reviewer, right? There are many reviewers do much better job than me. All right. So for example, there's one reviewer, and I hope that you can subscribe to her channel. We do not have any connection. I don't think she know that I exist. Right. I think her channel is called Potato Fry Review. All right. A lady in the US, and her channel was growing very well. About, I think she hit 1,000 and above in a very short time. But recently, when I go back to her channel, I'm a subscriber. I find that her subscriber base suddenly become like less than 200. So she mentioned that I think YouTube deleted her channel. I don't know what happened, right? So that's not important. She really put in a lot of effort, and she's not as famous as those Steve Kattenberg, Daco, that kind of thing, right? Thomas. But if you want to have professional review, her channel should be the one that you should view. For me, I'm more on talking about the product that I bought myself as a consumer, right? As an average Joe. All right. So today, I'm going to talk about this BMW. This is not the latest, the S3 version. The latest is the S3, and I bought this S2. Okay, I got this S2. All right. I can just tell you the reason why, right? Maybe you want to look for other videos, so I tell the reason why first. The one video that actually affected my decision was this video by also one of my favorites reviewer. I hope I pronounced his name properly. It's Tama, is it? Yeah. Sorry if I pronounced it wrongly. He's an Asian guy, I think residing in the US. So he was reviewing the bookshelf version, the 706 S3, S3, and he mentioned that what was so attractive about the 706 S2, which he has personally, was compared to the S2, right? The S3 is no longer that fun, right? I think BMW actually tweaked the sound to give it a more fuller, more warmer. Of course, not as warm as like other brand, but warmer than the S2 version, right? S2 has a lot of sparkle, that kind of thing. And I'm one of those listeners that I need a lot of sparkle, and I find that it's more exciting, right, than a very warm speaker or very warm amp. And that's why I choose the S2. And another reason is a very practical reason. From the S3 onwards, right, whether is it a 703 or 706, right, the price has actually increased quite a lot. I think a really big increase, right? You know, I reviewed the CAF R3 Meta, right? R3 Meta, yeah. Before I bought the CAF, I was considering the 703. The 703 It's something like that, but you have the tweeter on top, right? With the tube tweeter on top. At the time, there was it was launched not long. I think the supplier, distributor in Singapore, in fact, to find the distributor was so very difficult, right? I actually went through a lot to find out the distributor here, and I was offered $6,900 for one pair. Later, I think it increased to I think $12,000. Yeah, I think it's very close to 10,000, something like that. Yeah, so I think it's way beyond more than what I want to pay for. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm going to talk about this the speaker itself. For this speaker, it's very hard for me to describe to you, just to tell you about the sound alone. All right, because when you're listening to this speaker, right, it's no longer about the high frequency, the mid bass, the bass, the mid range, right, the vocal. Of course, speaker being speaker, is still do this kind of thing. For the I'm going to compare this with the R3 Meta. Although this is a floor standard, there is a bookshelf. I will take into consideration, especially the bass different. I'm not going to compare so much on the bass, right? I'm going to compare on the sound staging and how it makes me feel. For the R3 Meta, that was a very outstanding speaker because its detail is clear, although it doesn't have the sparkle like BMW. So when I say these sparkles, I know some of you who are not so far with BMW, you're going to say that, oh, they are very sharp. But right now I can tell you that it's not sharp, right? If the speaker is sharp, because the amp is not in synergy, right? We are talking about hi-fi system. It has to be a system. They have to work together, right? They must complement each other. It's like husband and wife, they have to complement each other. Then you can have a happy marriage. So same for the speaker and the amplifier. If you think that the BMW is very, very sharp, then I think you should get a different amp, right? Okay. So for the R3 Meta, I'll come back to the R3 Meta. In that review, you can look at the video of the review. I describe it as very holographic. The biggest strength is the 3D, the depth of the soundstage, rather more than the width. So this is a bit opposite. But for that, I can use some adjective to describe it as in clarity, the vocal, very good. How the female vocal, how can hear the lips smacking, splitting, not splitting, I mean the top and the bottom lips, you part ways, right, and then come together. Yeah, those you can hear because detail, and you also have rather good bass, and if you have a suitable amp. And I managed to hear that with Cambridge Audio Evo 150, and they actually bring up more sparkle than this guy, the PMA A10 that I'm having now. So for that speaker, R3 Meta, I can use that kind of word to describe. But we'll come to these guys. I think it's no longer talking about the sound, how it sound like. Of course, for a video, I need to tell you a bit about how it sounds. Okay, I think the best part is many people will complain about the sharpness of this and how thin it is sound of this tweeter. But for me, the strength is the tweeter. I love the tweeter because super high resolution, brilliance. The sparkle is absolutely beautiful. For example, I listen to this song. It's not through a very good source. It's not through those high-res source or CD, super audio CD. It's from the FM radio. And the area that I'm staying, it's very hard for me to get a perfect lock-on to the signal. I think someone told me because there's a Air Force, the air base nearby, they have this huge hot air balloon that is like a radar thing, right? I'm not sure if that's the reason. So listening to that and listening to oldies, Chinese oldies, right? And this song, they constantly have this hitting of the triangle, ting, 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 with this speaker. It's not about the sound reaching my ear, it's the sound going around and from the back, front go to the back and then come to my ear. So every time I hit the triangle, the ding ding ding, the sound is like, wow, it's like someone hitting the ding 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 right beside me. And it's not sharp, it's just very sweet and very comfortable. And to the point that it's actually a bit, hypnotizing. You can fall asleep, that's so good. And because of so much emphasis on the treater, right? And I think what people miss is actually the mid bass. This woofer, the mid bass, the mid range. So hearing this speaker is no longer about hearing sound quality. When you hear the good speaker, we of course emphasize on the sound quality. Then, just like in my previous review, I say how the sound is like. But when you hear this speaker, it's totally different. It's not about. Alright, for the R3 Meta, I told you that it caused me to tap my feet, right? And wow, like the musical note is floating in the air, that sort of things. But when you listen to this, it's like now the speaker is communicating with me, and it's not just to my ear. It's more like the music actually is speaking to my soul. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a bit eerie, but yeah, it's about communicating with the soul. Alright, if the R3 Meta can cause me to tap my feet, I feel like dancing, that kind of thing. Listening to this BMW, you are more in touch with your soul, more in touch with the sentimental side of a person, right? It's no longer being so technical, R3 Meta, yes, I think even other reviewers say that they can actually pinpoint the position of the musician, right? I have never really seen in a real recording studio, so I do not know how they record. Some of them is individual maybe recording room for the individual instrument. The one that I saw was the Buena Vista Social Club. They have, talking about the video, so they have seen about the recording. So everyone playing together like a live band, then they do the recording. Alright, so that kind of thing you can estimate where the musician is. But for this, you forget about all this. This become very amateur, become like child play. I'm sorry, I'm not insulting anyone. It's more like a child's play. When you listen to this speaker, right? When I listen to oldies, I told you I like to listen to Chinese oldies, recorded in the late 50s, 60s, 70s. Yeah. So when I listen to this, it cause my mind to wander off, to even start to think, those Chinese oldies are also singing about love. How the lyrics is totally different from nowadays. Nowadays, especially you listen to those Western music, right? We talk about making love, right? Having sex, that kind of thing. Some of them, then kissing, all this. But for Chinese culture, we are more conservative, especially in the 50s, 60s, right? So you talk about, right? One of the song talk about how he feel about the girl and how he want to arrange himself to sort of bump into her and then or give her roses, that kind of thing. So when I listen to when it's played to the BMW and through my this PMA A10, or even to my new old Yamaha receiver, AB receiver, the music then the lyrics, right, start to speak to your soul, and you start to imagine, alright, wow, how do people in that era where the song was written, how do they see things, right? How do they dress? Then suddenly I can picture, like, I have a picture of my late father. I know last time, wear the bell bottom and very high boots. I wore that too when I was a kid. Right, that's how, I think that was a fashion then in the early 80s and late 70s. So it communicates to my soul and I start to imagine, right, I can't help it, but your soul and your whole mind is so led by the music, by the song, by the lyrics, by the story of the music, rather than the quality of the music. the technicality of the music. It's about you totally being drawn into the music and being transported to that era. Alright, I think a good speaker is not about just giving you the quality of the sound, the technical, you know, what kind of tweeter, is it a metal dome tweeter or a fabric tweeter, you know, what kind of maniac, what kind of motor driver. It's no longer that. A good speaker will convey the intention of the songwriter. Right, we always talk about the singer, but the songwriter is the soul. Alright, so it speaks to my conscience. I start sort of like transported to the era. I can see how people being so shy and yet they want to know each other, you know. And then there are some songs you got a shock. Hey, actually they are not so conservative. They are even more daring than people in our era. Right, you start to see the story. It's no longer telling you. I think a good speaker like the KEF R3 Meta and maybe other speaker will let you hear, like, you know, people like us, I said, for example, let you hear the lips, how the breathing, you know, that kind of thing. Some people say you can hear the air. All right, but for this guy here, this guy doesn't bother with those things. Those things to this guy, just amateur. Right, you don't even want to bother with those things. He can do those things, but you don't bother with those things. It's more on conveying the spirit, the meaning of the song. So much so I start to be transported into, for example, if I'm listening to a 60s song, I've been transported to the 60s. You know, of course I wasn't born yet. Those are from videos. And then I can remember some of the songs actually caused me to remember, to see something that I saw as a kid. Alright, about how my mom, my father, my parents brought me to certain places in Singapore where they are no longer exist because Singapore is so small, they always redevelopment. You know, I was like this tall, right? So I started to see things from that height, that perspective. People, I know that I'm getting emotional. Exactly. This speaker causes you to be emotional rather than cause you to listen to the mid bass, the bass, how the bass, you know, the kind of thing, the sound stage. Please. Those things are good. Those things are not that they are no good, right? Of course, you pay for a pair of speakers. Those things are good. But when you listen to this speaker, it's no longer about those things. It's like you graduated. I'm sorry that I am not well educated. I can't really use English to express the fullest of how I feel. But from my emotion, I think you can hear how I feel. But it's emotional. Listen to this speaker, emotional. Just by listening to FM radio, I tell you. So there's a Chinese oldies. That is the 95.8 Singapore FM radio. When I listen to the Class 95 or the Go 95, I think it's Class 95, Go 95. So they play English song, Western song from the 80s, 70s, right? I think 70s to the 90s. Right? Wow, people. I'm sorry I didn't get a drink because I think I'm so overexcited, right? Too excited about this. But I get a drink to smooth my throat. So, listening to those Western song, English song, oldies also, consider oldies. You know the Eurasian, Ships of Fool, those songs, and Level 42, Billy Ocean, Lionel Richie. Of course, my favorite, Modern Talking, right? I don't know whether you know them. And listen to CC Catch from Germany, Heartbreak Hotel. Oh, memories. It's not about walking down the memory lane. It's been transported. It's like, you know, Back to the Future, they have this car called the DeLorean, right? I think it's called the DeLorean. The DeLorean. This is like the car, right? Like the car, the Back to the Future car, the time machine car. yeah, it's no longer. I know some of the speaker can do a lot of bass and kind of thing. Wow, the sound very warm. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's forget about that. So, if you have never owned a pair of BMW, if you have never listened to it extensively and never paired with a correct pair of amplifier, I think from now you can stop saying that it's sharp. It's people like us who put my money where my mouth is, right? Who really invest with whole cold hard cash. Then we have the right to say that this guy can give you a real verdict of the speaker. Just like some people say that, oh, those $5,000 speaker cable, they're useless. I don't know. For me, I don't know, because I will never ever spend $5,000 on those cable. And I will never ever own that kind of the standard of quality of the equipment that can take advantage of the $5,000 cable. And doesn't mean I cannot afford them. I need to be sour grape and say that they are useless, because I will never get a chance to listen to them. So how can I say that they are useless, right? Doesn't mean you cannot afford it. It means it's no good, right? I think you need to grow up on that. So for the speaker, this is the S2, supposing to be sharp and thin and cold sounding. No, it's not. Yes, compared to the R3 Meta, compared to PMC, even the quad, this will appear as more lean sounding, but it's because you're comparing to those are super warm, right? Right, so it's too extreme. But by itself, I tell you, especially the bass, you talk about speed, right? Well, this guy, the bass, right, is fast. The bass has definition. So totally, I never ever own a pair of speakers that sound this way, that move me like that. Yeah. So yes, it's costly. I mean, not talking about the S3 version. That one is over too much. So for this, it's costly, but I think it's worth every dollar. All right, if you have a proper amplifier. But let's say, I think hi-fi is not about spending more and more money, right? So let's say you don't have a really good amp or powerful amp, because I think my Denon 80 watt, it can drive it to the potential of maybe 75 or 80%. Okay, if I were to change the amp, I'll change it to maybe more than 100 watt, maybe 120 watt at least, to drive these guys. This is 80 watt. If you have a 50 watt amp and a good power supply, that high current, I think you can also drive this speaker. Alright, but of course it's not about giving it an audio signal and then you have sound. Right, you want to have sound coming out from this BMW, I think even buy maybe a $300 AV receiver, it can do it too. Right, then no problem causing it to produce sound. But when you buy this kind of speaker, you want to try to drive it to as much as to its potential as possible. Okay, so sorry, today I'm not going to talk about how the vocal, that kind of thing. I'm just telling you how we convey the message of the song, the spirit, the meaning of the song to the listener. This is what I want to tell you. If that's the only takeaway, this is the takeaway. Okay, of course now I'm more excited. I'm more interested to try out the one with the splitter on top. But I don't think I'll be able to buy it or to spend that kind of money anytime soon. Unless until I buy another property, right? That's more conducive. Maybe a special room for me to put my hi-fi, a real listening room. As you can see, it's so close to the wall. Some people ask me to move away. If I can, I don't need you to tell me that. This is a very simple thing, but I can't, right? That's the limitation of I think just like most of us, we just do our best, right? Because there are other people living in this house. Hi-fi is not the first thing. The harmony, the standard of living, the quality of living is more important than hi-fi. Okay, all right, so my name is Dave. Again, don't bother about subscribing. All right, I'm a real estate agent, and I think I have to work harder, not work harder, I have to have more faith, right? Close more deals so that I have the money to buy new gears and to do the review for you guys. All right, so I talk a lot, and I see you in my next video. Right, bye.